All right, folks. Welcome to This Podcast is Making Me Thirsty, the number one destination for Seinfeld fans. We are live, and my co-host very gracious tonight, letting me do the intro. We appreciate that because my mother did say, "How come Tony only does the intros?" So
Oh, that Lloyd Braun.
this one's for you, Ma. I get to do the live ones. So here we go. We got a fun one tonight, folks. As you can see below, we're going to have a fun little debate about writers, right? We've spoken to two of the best writers in TV history, quite frankly. Peter Mehlman, we spoke to twice, and one of our most recent incredible writer interviews was that of the great Larry Charles. Not much needs to be said with these two. Mehlman wrote 21 unbelievable episodes, Larry Charles 18. So we're gonna have a little fun here. Tony got first dibs, so he took Larry Charles, okay, and he's gonna make his case. Talk about Larry Charles. I'm gonna talk about Mehlman, and then we're gonna take the top 5 episodes of each and kind of compare and contrast. And hopefully, you guys out there will vote. I want to see some comments. Listen, it's like picking your favorite child. These two are both incredible guests, but just incredible writers of Seinfeld throughout the 9-year run. So here we go. There we go. Larry Charles, good debate. Here we go, Magda. So, Tony, why don't you kick us off? Tell us a little bit about why you think Larry Charles is the ultimate Seinfeld writer.
Yeah, and listen, we do the old Francesa thing. Mad Dog started it off every time, and Francesa closed it every time. But hey, Chris started us off well, and who chose who? Come on now, he wanted Mehlman, he took Mehlman. But yeah, so. Best writer who's not named Larry David, right? These two, and the funny part about these two is neither one of them came from sitcom world before they got this gig. I mean, Mehlman wasn't writing anything; he was writing what a USA Today article or LA Times article, whatever it was, New York Times article, something like that, right? Um, Larry Charles, obviously Fridays, but not really sitcom. He even told us he hates sitcoms. So they became, basically changed what a sitcom is, and that's kind of where I'm starting off. Larry Charles, groundbreaking, right? Everything he did was groundbreaking. Starting with the statue. You got Heart Attack and Baby Shower. You're not getting. I mean, those are probably his two weakest, if you will. And you're talking about the Russian cable guys. You're talking about George getting a heart attack, Tor Ekman. All this guy did was bring in these seedy underground New York City characters. Brings in guys like Crazy Joe Davola, obviously in the opera. Got a serial killer in the airport with George. The Russian cable guys, like I mentioned, the Bubble Boy, an all-time character. The Moyle, an all-time character. Bookman, an all-time character. I mean, look where I'm going with this. The subway. You got George getting robbed in the hotel room. Just so much going on. He's foundational with the statue and the limo stuff. Everything's very dark, very gritty. That New York City kind of old school vibe that he's famous for. Plus, he always throws in existentialism, religion, philosophy, Western medicine. I mean, the guy's all over the map. As good as it gets. We'll run through, like O'Hara said, top 5. Now with him, that was a very difficult decision. Just so many to choose from. Statue, limo, stall. I mean, I didn't even mention the stall in my opening. The opera, I didn't mention in my opening. The subway, the airport, which my partner loves. The outing. He can do things like the fix up. Here that he wrote with Elaine Pope. That whole thing there, where it's kind of relationship stuff. He doesn't just do the crazy, dark subway stuff and airport stuff. So a lot to digest here. I do love Mehlman. As Chris mentioned on the show twice. He writes very slice of life stuff. Completely different. He writes those kind of catchphrases, if you will, and very shrinkage and double dip and these kind of things. So two completely different dynamics, but Seinfeld needed both of them to be the greatest show of all time, and I think it's because of these two that it was. I don't know how long we're going to go with these intros. I feel like I'm rambling, but that's kind of where I'm starting. These two guys really are the reason why Seinfeld became what it was, and that's my kind of opening here on those two. And by the way, I thought this was going live on Twitter. I don't think it is. I think you're only joining us on YouTube if you're joining us. So thank you. keep leaving us comments if you're watching this live.
Yes, very nice intro about Charles there, but let's not go. Listen, you mentioned all these side characters. Let's give Hirschfeld some credit there. I'm not giving Larry Charles all this credit.
Charles was in the every single casting room, as he told us.
But listen, here's the deal with Mehlman, okay, folks. Longevity matters in this business. He was there from the beginning. He was there to the end. Okay. Charles, after season 5, hightailed out of there. Okay. Give Mehlman some credit here. It's funny. You didn't mention, one of the episodes that got taken off the air, The Bet. You didn't mention that, Larry Charles, right? That never happened with Mehlman. They always kept his episodes. That's how good they were. And just talk about the run here. I mean, from The Apartment in season 2 to an incredible run with season 3, The Nose Job, Good Samaritan, and I'll put his season 4 up against, Larry Charles' season 4 any day of the week, right? The Virgin, the Visa, the Implant, obviously the smelly car Tony hates, but just some really good stuff here. And then listen, we talk about a lot. Oh, Charles and Sharonis left, Guess what? Guess who stepped up? Mehlman. Tony knows this. Mehlman stepped up
for the 100th episode.
A great call out. I wasn't even going to say it. Who did Larry David tap on the shoulder to do?
Yeah, no, I think that's a positive for Mehlman. I think if you're gonna, I would throw that in there if I was you, because listen, he put that whole thing together. I mean, that was all him.
He put it together. He didn't call up Larry Charles.
As our editor, I know how hard that is to kind of piece these things together and make it all work.
He didn't call up Berg and Schaefer. He called up Peter Mehlman. He went with his. I like it, the baseball. It's like Torrey. He's going out to the mound, right? And he's calling for Mariano Rivera. That's what Mehlman is to David, I think. And they met in different ways, right? I believe Mehlman told us the story when they met. It was at a party, and to your point, different lifestyles, but you said slice of life. I think the whole show weaves slice of life into this.
That was Mehlman's line. Mehlman used slice of life with us. That's why I used it. Yeah.
Yeah. And listen, then you have some all-timers, obviously the Hamptons, the Implants. And then, listen, at the end of the day, we got a lot of pink hat fans out there. Say what you will. The guy created one of the most memorable lines, episodes of all time, the Yada Yada. Say what you will. You know how many people watched the Yada Yada? 31 million. You know how many people watched The Money? 37 million.
What grade you give The Money? The Yada Yada are 2 up, 2 down.
You're missing the point about grades. I'm talking about impact. I'm an analyst.
Okay.
All right. And listen, Larry Charles never sniffed 30 million of an episode. So when I talk about impact, the scofflaw, the highlights, the sponge, and we talk about this. He talked about this a lot. Who did he like writing for? Elaine. So a lot of big Elaine episodes you'll see across the board here with Mehlman. So, listen. And then he kind of bridged the gap, right? I mean, he worked with Mandel, Berg, Schaefer, all these guys, all these Harvard guys, which he may have had issues with, but he did the right thing for the goodness of the show. Okay? Can't take that away from him. Charles and Sharon split town. You forget about that. So that's my case for Mehlman, longevity, right? Do you want Gale Sayers or do you want Emmett Smith?
Is it Gale Sayers or is it Phil Necro though? Huh? That's the question you got to ask. Is he a compiler? Is he throwing?
I'll tell you this: Phil Necro, okay, never led the league in wins. He never had the impact that this guy had. Emmett, I'm using the football analogy here. Emmett won some rushing titles. Yeah, they said he had a great line, and you could say Mehlman had a great support system, sure. But he went there, he battled, he won, big ratings. That matters. So Melman, in my pick, he's got to be the guy here. But let's review. Let's review their top 5 episodes, because this is where it could get interesting. Now we're always sticking with the top 5, folks. Bottom 5 is a challenge, but we just want to elevate the best of the best, which I think is fair here. So, Tony, let's hear I'm curious to hear this, your top 5 of Larry Charles, because, he is, a lot of people, you mentioned this, like the library, a lot of these early shows, people don't, I know you love them, but will America love them? That's the key.
Well, that's the thing. When I was putting together my top 5, and it's hard with me and Larry Charles. I mean, I was doing it from gut at first, just looking at him and being like, okay, I'm putting this here, I'm putting that there. Then I went back and kind of looked at some of the 2 up, 2 downs we've done, and looked at my grades, looked at my rankings. And listen, I'm not really putting any. I mean, so many of his are AA plus for me, and I think you're right. I don't know if America is going to agree with me on a lot of these. I mean, I could go with America's choices, which would probably be like the Briss, and maybe the outing and things like this. But for me, and you're talking about longevity, I'm talking more foundational here. I'm talking about Larry Charles creating the show, in essence. I mean, with Larry David, obviously, but a lot of the things Larry Charles did early on carried on through. So my top 5 kind of reflect that.
Before you go there, just so you know, Melvin's first episode is written before Charles's first episode.
Indeed, it was. Yeah.
Easy there.
That is true. But again, as we'll see, I think the impact you referred to earlier, Charles has a little bit of impact on his own right here. So my top 5, and this is in no particular order, to just to throw that out there. I'm not going in order because, and to kind of strengthen my case, if we did go top 10, I think this might become a little bit different conversation. But top 5, to Chris's point, Mehlman kind of closes that gap a lot quicker. But Charles's top 10 stacked, I think would dominate. So finding 5 out of all of
top 5. We're playing top 5 here.
Was a little difficult, but here's what I'm going to go with, and I'm going to call them out. I'm going to go. I think the statue belongs there. As we know, I gave that an A+ in our 2 up, 2 down. Again, it's one of the ones Chris is referring to that America may not love as much, but I mean, this is Kramer's breakout episode through and through. Make love to the wall, pervert, the whole thing there. I mean, this kind of solidified Kramer out of the apartment, doing his thing more than he was earlier on. So for me, the statue's up there. Another one that's an early on episode that I'm putting in here is the limo, a season 3 episode. Another all-timer. I mean, you're putting neo-Nazis. She's a Nazi, Jerry, in a sitcom. You're blowing our minds with that. You got the Michael Jordan stuff with Kramer. It's got to be up there for me. And then I think this one here probably, if you asked me tomorrow, could be my favorite episode. And I've told people the limo is my favorite episode at times. But the more I think about it, the stall is just, I mean, as perfect as it gets. Hunky Tony, the whole thing with Kramer and the sex line number, spare a square, Tony took a tumble. I mean, just an all-timer. Again, in the heart of everything, season 5 on all cylinders, Charles is just churning them out. So that's 3 right there. It kind of got a little tricky for me. The next kind of 2, lot to choose from. My co-host loves the airport, and so do I. I'm not putting in the top 5.
He's not putting the airport in.
I'm not putting the airport in the top 5. I don't even think I'm putting the subway in the top 5, which is crazy too, because I love the subway. I love the old man. Again, all not in the top 5. That's how impressive this list is. So my next one, and it might be a curveball too, but the Bubble Boy. I'm putting the Bubble Boy in the top 5. He wrote this with Larry David. Now, I was going to kind of take a point off or something like that in this. I'm interested in what my co-host is doing on that. If he wrote with somebody, if you're going to count it with more weight or less weight, I think he gets writing credit, whether it's Larry David or not. It's the Bubble Boy. I mean, take your top off, the whole thing there. Moops. I mean, it's an all-timer. For me, it's one of those that kind of all four that I've mentioned so far, watching them live and watching them, 30 years later, it's still the same for me. It still sticks. It's still amazing.
So you go Bubble Boy. Interesting.
I did give the Bubble Boy an A+ in the 2 Up, 2 Down.
I just feel like Elaine and Jerry didn't have that much of a role in that episode.
I don't disagree with that, but I thought what they did have in that was a great dynamic. I mean, Elaine with the whole, the whole, getting the signature there, and he orders a chicken for her. I mean, yeah, that's the point. Like the bubble, we're poo-pooing the Bubble Boy, for crying out loud. A season 5, stalwart. So, my next one.
No poo-poo. You're putting in the top 5. That's fine.
Yeah, my next one again. Again, this was the hardest choice. I thought those 3 Statue of Liberty stall were easy. The next 2 were very difficult. I had about 5 or 6 to choose from to put 2 in. And I said I didn't go Subway and I didn't go Airport. I didn't even go Outing, which is incredible. I'm going Opera. Another one that you're probably going to say, what did Elaine and Jerry do? To me, again, the 2 of them on the line, when those 2 were kind of poking at each other, that kind of stuff there, that's enough for me. That's Elaine and Jerry in a nutshell. But when you get George and Kramer doing their thing, George with the tuxedo and Harry Fong stuff, and Kramer, some people dress up, I don't. And then Crazy Joe. I mean, I like the Courage Intruders, Fears and Most Primal Emotion. This is what Larry Charles is all about. That's why I made this my top 5, because Larry Charles is all about the Bubble Boy and Crazy Joe and the limo with the white Nazis, neo-Nazis, and the statue with making love to the wall. I mean, all of this kind of shows us who this guy is and what he's adding. So that's my top 5. Now, I don't even know if that's his strongest 5, if that makes sense. I'm picking my favorite 5, and that's what I'm putting out there. Again, the next 5, I think, are just as strong. If we go Subway to Airport, Outing, Fix Up Old Man, something like that. Even The Fire. But I'm going with those 5 for my 5, and that's what I got to kind of make my case.
I mean, it's hard to argue that list. If I was going to do a list, it might be something like the Subway, the limo, the Airport, the stall. And yeah, it's a tough one. Because you do think about foundational. I might go the library, actually. I think there's certain episodes we talk about a lot, especially in season 3. Season 3 is a pivotal season. I think the library, the boyfriend with Keith Hernandez, these are like, I talk about it, they're launch pads that kind of took it to another level. So, and that's kind of what I'm thinking about in mine here a little bit as well. But top 5 for Mehlman, yeah, I could take the easy route and take all the big 37 million people watching that Charles never got. Oh, look at that, Alex giving a slot out to Mehlman. I haven't even finished yet, but I appreciate that, Alex. So here we go. I'm going to, the elephant in the room, we all know it. We all love it. The Hamptons. I mean, we talk about season 3 and season 5, even 4 to some degree is the best ever. When you think season 5, it's the Hamptons. I mean, I love these episodes. You mentioned the airport, when they're out of the apartment, when they're away somewhere, the main 4. I love it. And the Hamptons was in the Hamptons. I mean, from shrinkage. Hey, we're live, folks. This New Jersey Transit popping around.
I mean, if you've been with us since the very, 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 very beginning, that train is our our calling card, if you will. I mean, you know that train well.
Indeed, and it ties into Seinfeld with the subway and the
Frank the Tank yelling at that train right now as well.
So back to the Hamptons. I mean, it really. I think we both gave that an A+. Yes, he wrote it with Leifer to some degree, but let's be honest. I mean, this was a Mehlman written episode. I mean, from seeing Jane topless, Yo-Yo Ma, she's got a great body, buddy.
Hamptons is an all-timer. There's no argument.
But it deserves an upper echelon all-timer. Yeah, Ernie, you get it. Yo-Yo Ma, and even we talked to Rachel, we talked to Dr. Ben. Don't sleep on Dr. Ben either. Breathtaking. I mean, the writing in that episode. Tony, give us some credit here. Unbelievable.
We're give us some credit. I think it's an A+ episode. I'm not knocking the Hamptons. I mean, that's not what we're doing here. Come on now.
Kramer and the Lobsters. I mean,
I'm not knocking the Hamptons. I think I probably rate the Hamptons in the top 10.
It's impactful.
But we're talking about the breadth of our work here. We're not talking about one episode. I mean, let's see what else you got.
I'm only on number 1 here.
Love to hear what else you got.
But it's so powerful. I mean, the lobster shirt, this, that, it stood the test of time. Like, no one's wearing a limo shirt. You know what I mean? I'm just saying. Okay. Here we go. In no particular order here. Next one, I'm going to Visa. I mean, talk about go watch that, folks. Go watch that tonight. Find something bad about the episode. It's unbelievable. I believe we both gave it an A+ if we're doing the grade thing. Babu, okay. Cheryl, Jerry, dark, mysterious, the whole thing. I mean, the Visa is one of those, and this is season 4. Interesting season, we all know the story arc, the whole thing. And what's funny is, if I'm looking at Mehlman season 4s along with our friend Larry Charles, both of their episodes, I think, are kind of just carve-outs. Like, they've really not much to do with the story arc, right? To some degree, they might, the writing and stuff in there, but for the most part, they're kind of standalones, which is just a testament to them and how much Larry David trusted both of them. Yeah, show me Babu. I mean, Babu, Cheryl, Ping. Listen, you talked about
kid loves Ping. That's the only thing I know about. Go watch our bracket on best character. You'll hear all about Ping.
That's my point. I mean, Mehlman took a guy like Ping and made him into a superstar. That's the brilliance of Peter Mehlman. You said slice of life. Nothing's more slice than Ping, right? I mean, Chinese delivery guy, and he's a top 4 of all time in our bracket. Special stuff. All right, so the Visa.
Hey, Craig Solo, how you doing from London? I love it.
Oh, yeah, baby. Good old London. Yeah, the Jets are in London. Say hi to them for us. And our boy Ian, and all our favorite London characters of Seinfeld, of course. All right. So I'm gonna flip. And then talk about an all-timer.
Isn't it like 2:00 in the morning in London right now?
Yeah, it's, people love this podcast. Make me thirsty. What can I tell you? Yeah, Diggsby. Yeah, wheels are in motion. Yeah, help me out here on the comments. Right, I forget. And then listen, another episode. Just, I mean, find a bad spot in this one. The implant. All right. I mean.
Yeah, you got 3 good ones right there. Hamptons, Visa, Implant. I will give you that. That I gave those 2 A+ and an A for those 3. So I'm on the same page.
Right, and so that's I think that's the beauty of Mehlman's top episodes. There's not much controversy there. With Charles, as Tony said, Tony goes, I like this one, but I don't know if America does. Keep that in mind, folks.
Okay.
Keep that in mind while you vote.
This is where we're going with this. I didn't realize I got to put up my lawyer hat over here. This guy's Jackie Giles over here. He's swaying the jury.
Yeah. So listen, the implant, obviously, we talked to a friend of the show, Sal Bass. He was incredible. Terry Hatcher a star, let's be honest. What else happened in that episode? I mean, just, again, it's lived on. It was pardon. Yeah, there you go, Craig. It's lived on in so many incredible ways. Real spectacular, just an absolutely marvelous episode. Right smack in the middle of season 4. Beautiful, beautiful episode. Now here's where we go
after those 3 big ones.
Well, after those 3 big ones, how about another big one in season 4? The Virgin.
Yeah.
All right.
Yep, that's the next one.
I mean, John.
See the theme here, the 5 for Mehlman are pretty easy. There's not a hard thing to do. Meaning he only has 5, 6, 7 that are going to be in that range.
Pretty easy.
To find the 5, yes. Unless you're, well, I guess I'll counter myself. It's not easy if you're a fan of yada yada and you're a fan of the money and you're a fan of these later season stuff. So yeah, if you want to argue Melman's full circleness as far as that goes, he kind of branches both ends of the spectrum. The early seasons and late seasons. That's your argument. I think you should go with it. I'll help you out there.
Listen, so the Virgin's an interesting one. I mentioned they're kind of carve outs of the
Digsby, we spoke to Melman about this. The Farrelly brothers apparently, what was it? They gave him the one idea around. That was like they had to just throw them a bone and put them a writing credit. They didn't have anything to do with it. They had submitted, which millions of people were submitting ideas to the Seinfeld at that point. They submitted something years before that. It was remotely possibly close as an idea.
Yeah, great point. And Digsby, like, as I talk about the story arc, I mean, Larry Charles writes about this in his book. Someone wrote an idea about doing the show within the show, but they never saw it, and it got it got blown out of proportion. And the Implant has the most. Yeah, Salman Rushdie. Yeah, spoke with them.
Friend of the show.
Oh my God. Yeah, I mean, let me go back to the Implant. Sorry, I mean George flying to get the miles with Kramer, and then. The picture,
I didn't go long enough on my episodes. I didn't know we were going to go this long. I would have talked more.
We'll hop you back. Exactly, Ernie. Thanks for making my case. I mean, double dipping. The priest, very comforting. That guy. Like I said, Mehlman can elevate and help write and make a priest look good. Digsby 6'7", yeah. So yeah, totally.
You don't need one of us know what 6'7" means. I asked my kids 100 times. I just get.
It means like so-so. So, but it's not so-so. We know that. So, but it's interesting. Seinfeld season 6-7 is 6-7 in my mind. So here we go. But back to the Virgin. Larry David trusted Mehlman. So he talked about the Virgin. He talked. Ping was in that, obviously. Marla, the whole thing. And this is when George goes in and kisses Susan. So he trusted Mehlman enough to even weave into the story arc, which very interesting. So that's always helpful. And the Virgin just it's an all-timer. I mean, Ping, JFK Jr., the diaphragm. I mean, and this. We talked to Mehlman twice. Loves writing for Elaine. So I think Elaine really had really strong episodes across the board here. And the last one is going to be it's a little tougher. I agree. And as I'm speaking, I don't even know which one I'm going to say yet. But I think foundationally, I'm going to go the nose job.
Interesting. Okay.
It's you talk about season 3.
I mean, I don't disagree. I mean, if you're looking at grades, I gave the nose job the same grade as the showerhead, which I know you don't love, but I think I would have went maybe showerhead for my 5th. But I can't argue nose job. I think they're kind of completely different episodes. One's obviously season 3 and one season 7. But go ahead. I just want to throw that out there.
God, he's slipping in the showerhead. The showerhead wouldn't sniff my top 100.
I gave the same grade. The showerhead, I gave nose job. I mean, the showerhead's a solid episode. If you're a Mehlman guy, what's wrong with the showerhead?
Well, to be fair, he wrote that with Marjorie Gross, and I think Marjorie had a little more fingerprints on that. Here we go. The nose job he wrote by himself. It was season 3, and it had a feeling of like the subway, the limo, a little more darker, and I think we learned a lot about Kramer in that episode. Always fun. We spoke with 2 guest stars in that one. Tawny Kataya, may she rest in peace. I mean, the whole, brain versus, what dynamic, fascinating. And then obviously Audrey with the nose.
Oh, you love the Good Samaritan too. I thought maybe you would have.
I do love the Good Samaritan. I do, and it was a tough choice, but I think he elevated some of the guest stars here. The landlord. Oh, that crazy woman.
Do love the landlord. Bring the Danishes.
Yeah. So I guess what I'm trying to say is, I think, you talked about the breakout episode for Kramer. I mean, how smooth is Kramer here? And then we learn a lot about Kramer. He does this later. He kind of he's a smooth character. He takes the girl from George, just like he does with Jerry, with the whip and the towel, the whole thing in that other episode, season 4. So, I love just some little good lines in there. Because listen, not that we've all been there, but you're dating someone, there's something not right, and to have the guts, or sorry, to have the guts that for what Kramer did originally, you just need a nose job. I mean, that's all time. I mean, you always remember that episode. You probably remember where you were when you first heard Kramer. Oh, you're just as pretty as them. You just need a nose job. Like, you don't know if you're cringing or laughing, but when Kramer delivers it, give Mehlman credit. So foundational on season 3, because then that turns into like, you always got to go to Kramer because Kramer will always tell the truth, right? So very foundational, which was important to the show. So, listen, I think that top 5 against Charles's top 5 plus the longevity, okay? This guy went through it all. He did the highlights. Top 100.
You brought up something earlier about, Larry David puts his trust in Mehlman and he gives the call to, Mehlman, the whole thing there. When the Olympics was running and the all eyes were on NBC and Seinfeld was going for it all, they needed the gold. They needed something to be shown. What are we gonna do? We got tons and tons of promotion. We got everyone in the world looking at NBC. We got the whole thing going here. What are we gonna do? Oh, Larry Charles, just write a 3-part arc across 2 seasons that brings in Smog Strangler and puts Kramer in L.A. and the Keys, the trip part 1 and 2. I mean, guy writes a opus. Might as well be Pete Townsend writing Tommy the Who over here. This guy, who does he call on? That's who he calls on for a 3-part.
Right.
Who does this?
All right.
Spans 2 seasons, up here. I'm already gone with Kramer, the whole thing there. George, I like to get the daily news. I mean, come on.
Listen, I'll tell you what he didn't deliver. Those 3 episodes didn't deliver any ratings. So that's why he never tapped on his shoulder again.
Ratings.
16.
All of a sudden, this guy's talking ratings.
He went from 16 million in the Keys, a season finale, to kicking off the season.
It's the middle of July, and no one's watching television with the ratings.
August
they wanted to put
12th.
Something on that lives on forever. Who's watching it now? Are you watching The Trip, or are you watching The Money, or The Soulmate? Huh?
He had an Olympic.
I'll do Lookner for you. I'll do a little wait out. Are you watching this, or are you gonna do this? Select the question and I'll answer it. I mean, come on.
Let me finish. It wasn't July. It was August. Peter.
Okay,
Mehlman,
even worse. More people on vacation in August than July.
No. It was a lead-in. He had the Olympics as a lead-in. Bob Costas. Come on.
Was it Costas?
Yeah, of course. I mean, so I don't want to hear it.
Yes. Well, this here we go. Craig Solo. Yes, exactly the point I made earlier is catchphrases and lightheartedness. Sure, Mehlman was great at that. Nice little flow, a little shrinkage here, a little yada yada there, a little double dip there. But are you getting crazy Joe Davola? Are you getting the Smog Strangler? Are you getting the Russian cable guys? Are you getting, little Bookman, for crying out loud? Eric the Clown yelling at, living in the past, man?
Are we just targeting Tony Chula? Or are we targeting a broader...
The Moyle? The Moyle, people love the Moyle. The Moyle's up there with people. Bookman and the Moyle are probably 2 of the biggest talked about side characters of all time. And listen, we know where they came from.
And there's a couple here more I didn't touch on. We mentioned yada yada, all timer. Didn't love it, but all timer. You forget about the masseuse. Talk about darkness, right? Joel Rifkin. I mean, what's better than Joel Rifkin? Tying that whole thing in there. The smelly car had some nice grit to it. Again, did that with Larry David. The apartment that spun. I mean, look at all he did. The scofflaw. you enjoy the scofflaw as well. I know you love that one. And again, here's what I'll say. I think Mehlman catered a little more to females. All right, with the yada yada, the sponge, the wait out.
I think what you're getting at there, and you're right, is Mehlman. I think at the time that he was actually writing his episodes, he was a dating bachelor with a hit TV show. We know he dated Rachel. We know he dated Rachel from the Hamptons. That's what his mindset was. It was how do I get the girl? Talk about the girl, the dating. I think go ahead. I think you're right about that. I think
And
you're right
and,
about
and,
that.
and I'll leave you with this. Okay, when Charles and Sharonis left, there was a lot to carry, and Mehlman took it all on, all the way through season 9. Right, one of your favorite episodes, The Maid, spoke with Angie Featherstone. That's all Mehlman. So listen, we'll let the world decide. Their solo, giving Tony a good point, throwing Tony a bone. Good job there, mate, Craig. But if you're just looking at the top 5, if you're just looking at the totality of it, Mehlman's he's a special guy. And it comes down to relatability. And, I think a lot of his stuff still lives on, from yada yada to shrinkage to, everything we see, a double dip. You're going to say those are cheesy catchphrases.
No,
Perhaps.
no, I'm not going to say the cheesy catchphrases. I'm going to say they are great catchphrases, but I'm taking Hunky Tony, and I'm taking the airport. Your favorite line of all time, Honolulu. I'm taking the outing, which I didn't even mention yet. I didn't even mention the outing. That's how amazing we're talking about here. I didn't mention the outing,
No.
and what else didn't I mention? I didn't mention the outing or the old man, which could have been my top 5. They could have been in my top 5. And I didn't even talk about them. Okay, nothing wrong with that. And the brouhaha at the record store. I mean, if you're doing top episodes and you want to compare and you want to do longevity and you want to talk about, you know, later seasons and how Mehlman held the glue together and kind of spanned that bridge and spanned time. That's your argument. That's your argument. I think I'll make it. That's what I would say. But
Yeah, listen, I'm here for the Pink Hat fans. I'm tough on you normally, but Mehlman kept it together. So this is a fun one. I think we'll do a couple more of these folks, especially with the writers. I think there's a lot of good dynamics. These two are obviously the top. I'm close. And then there's some nice dynamic duos with Gamble and Pros and Berg and Shaver. And we'll keep this going for another live one. But yeah, maybe we'll put a little poll up right after this video, and let's see what you guys think: Mehlman or Charles. You can't go wrong. Let's put it that way.
you can't go wrong. And the interesting point, too, I think, to make is if you look at the Seinfeld, the series, Larry David wrote 56 episodes. Peter Mehlman wrote 21, and Larry Charles wrote 18. Those are the 3 most written episodes. So there you go. I mean, you take their episodes and you package them up, and you can put everything else aside, and it's the greatest show of all time. That's what we're talking about here. So
there you go, folks. Well, listen, it was a fun debate, and we'll catch you on the next one.
thanks. See what happens.